Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw a continuation of the upside move that began yesterday. Buyers pushed ES up into the 34.5 to 36.5 zone where responsive sellers were active. And at this point, heading into the open, we have pre-market resistance at 35 to 37. And on the downside, we have the aggressive area of support at 29.75 to 30 quarter, followed by initial support at 24.75 to 26.75. Now you can see that for the past couple of weeks, the market has been trading within a range. It's been a very balanced market. And for that reason, our short-term bias heading into the open today continues to be neutral. We don't have any major econ reports due today, but today is quadruple witching, so it is options expiration and futures expiration. And a lot of times we can see two-sided action or a balance type session on quadruple witching. So given that our short-term bias is neutral and the market is stuck in a balance anyway, and then you throw quadruple witching in there and it just increases the odds of a two-sided balance type session. So with our short-term bias being neutral, we are going to have to assess the situation in real time, see if there are any signs of strong directionality. If we're not seeing one side clearly dominant, then it's going to be better to wait for the market to get exhausted into a zone and then look to fade that zone. So on the downside, the aggressive area is 29.75 to 30 quarter. So that's an area that calls for some caution. So we would have to see some bullish signals in real time to consider trading that zone. But below that, 24.75 to 26.75 is a spot where responsive buyers can be active. Below that, there's some support at 23 quarter. And then we have yesterday's VPOC at 1975, and then the stronger area of support is going to be at 16 quarter to 1875. Now, if we're running on below average volume and we're not seeing any excess strength or weakness on the day time frame, then the market could very well balance either between pre-market support and initial resistance or initial support and pre-market resistance, and we may just kind of chop around and not really make any big moves one way or the other. But that is something that we will need to assess in real time. Overall, given that the market is stuck in a balance and we have quadruple witching today, the opportunity potential may not be that high. So that's yet another reason to be more selective on the trades that are taken today. And if the market doesn't provide any good trade setup, then that's perfectly okay too. It's better to stay flat and conserve capital rather than get involved in some mediocre trade setups. So the conservative play today is going to be to wait for good trade location and just overall be a little more selective and cautious on the setups that are taken today. On the upside, in order to get a breakout above 35 to 37, we would want to see broad market strength and some decent upside momentum. That would bring the 40.5 to 43.5 zone into play, which marks the all-time high, and that is still an area where responsive sellers can be active. And given that we're heading into a weekend on quadruple witching, it is lower probability that the market's going to put in any kind of sustained breakout beyond 43.5 today. So those are the main ideas heading into the open. Let's keep an eye on the other markets as well. That'll also help us establish our real-time intraday bias, and we'll take it from there.